I'm not what you'd call a happy person. Then Chloe came along. She was like a ray of sunlight that barged into my life without asking. Her pursuit of me was so obvious the entire company knew about it. I never understood what she saw in a closed book like me. You have a really nice smile, she told me once. I started practicing in the mirror. But what she didn't know was, 1. I've been with the company for 3 years. Everyone says I'm cold, hard to approach. The truth is, I just never know what to say. I sit in the corner during meetings. I'm the first one out the door at 5. If the elevator has people in it, I'll wait for the next one. Socializing is exhausting. I'd rather be alone. Friday afternoon, we had a departmental meeting. My manager was up front, talking about next quarter's goals. I kept my head down, spinning a pen between my fingers. I could feel a pair of eyes locked on the side of my face. I didn't look up. I knew who it was. Chloe, the new intern. She'd been here a month. Her desk is diagonal from mine. The meeting ended. I gathered my notebook, ready to leave. Chloe scurried over. Hey, Ethan. I didn't stop, just grunted in acknowledgement. She trailed behind me. Ethan, that spreadsheet from this afternoon. Email me, I said. I did. Her voice was a little rushed. You haven't replied. I pushed open the conference room door. Saw it. It's fine. She seemed to let out a breath, then hurried to keep up. Really? I was so worried I messed it up. It's fine. I got to my desk and grabbed my jacket. She stood next to me, not moving. I had no choice but to glance at her. She immediately broke into a smile. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Ethan. She went back to her desk. I put on my jacket and walked to the elevator bank. An elevator started its descent. The numbers blinked down, one by one. I counted them in my head. I was annoyed. I knew she was just finding an excuse to talk to me. I'd approved her spreadsheet at lunchtime. She was just looking for a reason to start a conversation. It had been like this for a month. Bringing me coffee before the morning stand-up. Asking me technical questions. Leaving random comments on my Instagram posts. The entire department could see what she was doing. Even the cleaning lady gives me these knowing smiles. The elevator arrived. It was empty. I stepped in and pressed the button for the lobby. Just as the doors were closing, a hand shot through the gap. They slid back open. Chloe squeezed in, slightly out of breath. Hey, Ethan. Me too, clocking out. I shifted half a step to the side. Right. The elevator descended. It was silent. I could hear her breathing, and a faint, pleasant scent. Shampoo or perfume, I couldn't tell. It wasn't bad. 2. She stood slightly in front of me to my left. I could see a sliver of her profile in the reflection on the polished steel walls. She was looking down at her phone, her thumb scrolling quickly. She didn't say anything. That was a little surprising. I figured she'd find something else to talk about. The elevator reached the lobby. The doors opened. I walked out. She followed. Outside the building, I turned left. Her subway station was to the right. This was usually where we parted ways. But today, she didn't leave right away. Ethan, which way are you headed? Left. To the bus stop? Yeah. Oh, well, see you tomorrow. She gave a little wave and then jogged off to the right. I watched her go. Plaid shirt, jeans, canvas tote bag. Her ponytail bounced as she ran. She quickly disappeared into the rush hour crowd. I walked slowly toward the bus stop. I felt a little strange. Hard to explain. It was like I'd gotten used to her chattering about nothing in my ear. The sudden quiet fell off. The bus stop was crowded. I stood at the very back. The bus pulled up. The crowd surged forward. I didn't move. Only after everyone else was on did I tap my Orca card and find a seat in the far back corner. I put on my headphones. The world went silent. It was almost dark by the time I got home. A rented one-bedroom apartment. Quiet. I flicked on the lights, kicked off my shoes, and hung up my jacket. There was a frozen pizza in the freezer. I preheated the oven. While I waited, I leaned against the kitchen counter. I thought about her quiet reflection in the elevator. And her see you tomorrow. Tomorrow was Saturday. See me where? My phone buzzed. A notification from the work Slack channel. Someone was trying to get a basketball game together over the weekend. I glanced at it and ignored it. A moment later, it buzzed again. A direct message. From Chloe. It was a picture. A stray cat, a chubby orange tabby, was perched on a planter. Ethan, doesn't this look like you? I stared at the cat. How? I replied with a single question mark. She texted back almost instantly. The grumpy expression is a perfect match. But the cat's a little chubby. I didn't reply. I set my phone face down on the counter. The oven beeped. Time to put the pizza in. 3. On Saturdays, I usually go to the public library. I spend the whole day there, reading technical manuals or whatever else I find. It's quieter than my apartment. I got there at 9 in the morning. Found my usual spot by the window with an outlet. Sat down, opened my laptop. I've been reading for a few minutes when I sensed someone sit down across from me. I didn't look up, not until that faint, pleasant scent drifted over. I paused and lifted my eyes. Chloe was sitting on the other side of the table. She was holding a book that covered the lower half of her face. All I could see were her eyes, curved into a smile. "Morning, Ethan." "Morning." What was she doing here? A coincidence? I didn't ask. I lowered my head and went back to my screen. The quiet I'd been enjoying was gone. She didn't say anything else. Just sat there quietly reading her book. The occasional rustle of a page turning, or the scratch of a pen. I forced myself to concentrate. I got lost in the code. I don't know how much time passed. I reached for my water bottle. My hand fumbled. The bottle tipped, and a little water spilled out, flowing across the table and dangerously close to my laptop. I quickly moved my computer. A pack of tissues was offered from across the table. "Here." I took it and pulled out a few to wipe up the spill. "Thanks." "No problem." She went right back to her book. Like it was nothing. Noon arrived. I closed my laptop, planning to grab a bowl of ramen from the place around the corner. She looked up. "Ethan, heading to lunch?" "Yeah. Want to go together?" "I know a great ramen shop nearby." I hesitated for a second. "Okay." She seemed a little surprised. Her eyes lit up. She quickly packed her bag. "Let's go." The ramen shop wasn't far. A few minutes walk. We didn't talk much on the way. Just walked side by side. She came up to about my shoulder. I caught her stealing glances at me. I acted like I didn't notice. We ordered. I got the tonkatsu. She got the spicy miso. Waiting for the food is always the most awkward part. Sitting across from each other. Nothing to look at. She fiddled with her chopsticks. "Do you come to the library often, Ethan?" "Yeah." "Me too. Funny we've never run into each other before." "We have now." "True." She smiled. The ramen came. We both focused on eating. She ate slowly, deliberately. I was almost finished when her bowl was still more than half full. "Ethan." "Yeah." "You eat really fast." "Habit." "Oh." She went back to carefully eating her noodles one by one. 4. When we were done, I pulled out my wallet. "I'll get this." She quickly waved her hands. No, we can go Dutch." I had already handed the cash to the server. "For both of us." She looked a little embarrassed. "Well, I'll get it next time then." I didn't respond. I just walked outside. On the way back to the library, she was a bit more talkative. "So, Ethan, what do you usually do on weekends?" "Read." "Don't you watch movies?" "Or go out?" "Rarely." "Oh." She fell silent again. We walked for another minute. "You know," she said suddenly, "there's a new art exhibit downtown. I heard it's supposed to be good." I didn't say anything. She sounded deflated. Just saying. Back at our table, the afternoon sun streamed through the window, warm on my skin. After a while, she got tired of reading and rested her head on her arms on the table. Her face was turned toward me. Her eyes were closed, like she'd fallen asleep. Her breathing was soft. Her eyelashes were long. Her nose was. I shifted my gaze. I looked out the window. The trees were almost bare. Winter was coming. She slept for about 20 minutes. When she woke up, she rubbed her eyes, looking a little dazed. "What time is it?" I checked my phone. 3:10. "Oh, wow, I was out for that long." She sat up straight and fixed her hair. It was a little messy. She ran her fingers through it and retied her ponytail. "Didn't drool, did I?" She mumbled to herself, subtly wiping the corner of her mouth. I looked down at my screen. I thought my lips might have twitched into a smile. I pressed them flat. At dusk, we packed up to leave. We walked to the library entrance together. She turned left, I turned right. "See you next week, Ethan." She waved. "Yeah." I walked a few steps and glanced back over my shoulder. She was still standing there, watching me. When she saw me looking, she spun around and walked away quickly, like a startled rabbit. I spent Sunday at home, cleaned the apartment, did laundry, watched an old movie in the afternoon. My phone was quiet. No one was talking in the work Slack. It was nice. For dinner, I made a cup of ramen, added an egg. After eating, I sat on the sofa, staring into space. I thought about her sleeping in the library yesterday, and her mumbling, "Didn't drool, did I?" I picked up my phone. Clicked on her profile picture. Her Instagram was private. I backed out of the app. Monday morning at work. The weekly stand-up meeting. She was late. Her hair was a mess. She ran into the room. Sorry, my alarm didn't go off. The manager gave her a look, but didn't say anything. She slipped into the empty chair next to me, catching her breath. She brought the cold morning air with her, and that familiar, faint scent. She had a different hairstyle today. Her hair was in a bun. It exposed the back of her neck. It was very pale. After the meeting, people started filing out. She leaned in close. Ethan, thanks for the ramen on Saturday. It was nothing. I never made it to that art exhibit. I just went home and napped all afternoon. Okay. Look, she pulled out her phone and showed me a picture. I saw that cat again. I bought a Slim Jim. In the photo, the orange tabby was nibbling on the beef jerky. She was crouching next to it, her hand hovering over the cat's back, not quite touching. It won't let me pet it, she said, disappointed. It'll only take my food. Strays are wary. Yeah, she put her phone away, just like some people. She gave me a pointed look and walked away. I stood there for a moment, processing that last sentence. Just like some people. Was she talking about me? I went back to my desk, opened my laptop. There was an email from her with the meeting minutes. She had CC'd me. A note at the bottom said, Ethan, please let me know if there are any corrections. I opened the document and read it. It was pretty good, just a few minor mistakes. I used track changes to mark them in red and sent it back. 2 minutes later, she replied with a crying emoji. Thanks, Ethan. I'll fix it right away. A little while later, she sent the corrected version back. Is this right now? Yes. She replied with a spinning, happy face emoji. Tuesday was a team-building event for the project department. Dinner and karaoke. I didn't want to go. My manager called me. Ethan, you've been here 3 years, and you've never come to a single team event. It doesn't look good. So I went. Dinner was at a loud sports bar. We had a private room with 2 big tables. It was chaos. I found a corner and focused on my plate of wings. Chloe was sitting at the other table, surrounded by a few of the other women from the office. She looked distracted, her eyes darting over to me every so often. I kept my head down. After dinner, we went to a karaoke bar, an even bigger room, dim lights, a cacophony of terrible singing. I retreated to the deepest corner of the sofa and scrolled on my phone. Chloe got pulled up to sing a song. I didn't recognize it. She was painfully off-key, but her voice was clear and bright. Everyone clapped when she finished. She put down the microphone, squeezed through the crowd, and sat down next to me. Ethan, you're not going to sing? I don't sing. No way, she laughed. Just get up there and have fun. Seriously, I don't. She didn't push it. She picked up an orange from the table and started peeling it. It's too loud in here. Yeah. You don't like this kind of thing, do you? No. Then why'd you come? Manager made me. She finished peeling the orange and offered me half. Here. I looked at the orange slices in her hand. No thanks. Come on, she pressed into my hand. It's really sweet. I held the orange. I didn't eat it. She ate her half. See, sweet, right? I grunted in agreement and put the orange down on the table. She looked a little disappointed, but she didn't say anything. Someone from the other side of the room called her name, asking her to sing another song. She went. I watched her take the microphone again. The intro to a slow song started playing. She followed the lyrics on the screen. Her voice was softer this time. It was actually good. The whole time she sang, she kept looking in my direction. The colored lights swept across the room. Her face would be illuminated for a second, then fall back into shadow. Her gaze was intense. The room was full of noise and laughter, but it was like none of it existed for her. There was just that spotlight and her voice floating over to me. I picked up the half-eaten orange. I pulled off a slice and put it in my mouth. It was sweet. When she finished, people started cheering and teasing her. Chloe, who was that one for? Yeah, your eyes were glued to one spot the whole time. She just laughed and waved them off. You guys are crazy. She ran back and sat next to me. Her face was a little red. From the heat or from embarrassment, I couldn't tell. It's so hot in here, she said, fanning her face with her hand. You have a good voice, I said. Her head snapped toward me. Really? Yeah. Her eyes lit up. Ethan, did you just compliment me? Stating a fact. Still counts as a compliment, she grinned, looking impossibly happy. This is a moment to remember. She picked up my half-finished beer from the table and took a sip. Hey, that's mine. I started, but it was too late. She put the glass down and licked her lips. It's fine. I don't have cooties. I just stared at her, said nothing. She slowly seemed to realize what she'd just done. Her face turned an even deeper shade of red. I'll go get another one. She got up and hurried over to the bar. Her retreat was a little clumsy. The party broke up late. Everyone went their separate ways. A few people were drunk, leaning on each other as they stumbled out. I was sober. Chloe seemed fine, too. She walked beside me as we left the bar. Ethan, how are you getting home? Uber. I'm heading in the same direction. Mind if we share? I glanced at her. Whatever. We flagged down a ride on the street. I opened the back door for her to get in first. She slid inside. I was about to get in the front seat, but she scooted over. There's plenty of room back here, so I got in the back with her. The car started moving. She gave the driver her address. Then it was quiet. The streetlights passed by, one after another, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow across her face. Her head was resting against the window. She looked tired. Did you have fun tonight? She asked suddenly, without turning her head. It was okay. You were probably bored, she said with a small laugh. I saw you sitting there the whole time. I'm used to it. Ethan, she turned her head to look at me. Do you think I'm annoying? I was taken aback. No, really. Her eyes seemed especially bright in the darkness of the car. Really, she seemed to relax. Good. The car arrived at her apartment building first. It pulled to a stop. She opened the door and got out. Thanks, Ethan. Get home safe. Yeah. The door closed. The car started moving again. I glanced out the back window. She was still standing at the entrance to her building, watching the car, getting smaller and smaller, until she was just a dot. Wednesday at work. Everything was normal. She didn't come over to talk to me. She just quietly did her work. I, on the other hand, felt a little unsettled. I went to the cafeteria for lunch. Sat at my usual table. Alone. She came in with a few of the other women from the office, laughing and talking. She didn't look my way. I ate my lunch. The food tasted bland. In the afternoon, my manager assigned her to help me with a project. It was a complicated one. We'd have to work late together. She brought her laptop over and sat at the desk next to mine. Sorry to trouble you, Ethan. It's fine. I started explaining the project requirements. She listened intently, taking notes, asking questions occasionally. Good questions. On point. She wasn't dumb. She was actually pretty smart. I found myself explaining things in more detail than I normally would. We worked until 9. We were only about halfway done. We'll continue tomorrow, I said, saving the file. Okay, she stretched. I'm starving. Are you hungry, Ethan? A little. I know this food truck downstairs that has amazing tacos. Want to go? I glanced at the time. Sure. It was a little cart outside a convenience store. She ordered a bunch of stuff. Al pastor, carne asada, carnitas. I just got 2 fish tacos. Is that all you're eating? She asked, holding her paper plate. It's enough. We sat on the high stools by the convenience store window, looking out at the traffic. She ate with obvious enjoyment. This al pastor is amazing. You have to try it, she said, using her fork to offer me a piece from her plate. I hesitated. No, I'm good. Just try it, she insisted, holding it out. Seriously, it's different. I finally gave in and took it. Ate it. Well, it's good. She smiled, triumphant. When we finished, she wiped her mouth with a napkin. You know, Ethan, you're actually a really nice person. I didn't say anything. You just don't talk a lot, she continued. At first, I thought you hated me. I don't hate you. So, do you like me? She asked, half joking, her eyes fixed on me. I looked out the window. A bus drove by. Let's go. It's getting late. She made a little O sound and hopped off the stool. She threw our plates in the trash. I walked her to the subway station. She tapped her card and went through the turnstile. Then she turned and waved. See you tomorrow, Ethan. See you tomorrow, I said. I turned to walk away. The wind was picking up. It was a little cold. I shoved my hands in my pockets. My fingers brushed against something hard. I pulled it out. It was a piece of candy. I don't know when it got there. She must have slipped it into my pocket. The wrapper was shiny. I unwrapped it and put it in my mouth. Strawberry. It was sickeningly sweet. The next few days, we worked late together every night, finishing the project. She was a fast learner, picked things up quickly. She made it easy. Friday night, we finally finished. I submitted the last file and let out a sigh of relief. Good work. You did most of it, Ethan, she smiled. Want to go celebrate? Celebrate? We finished the project. We could grab a late dinner. I hesitated. My treat, she added quickly. To thank you for all your help. You don't have to do that. Then we'll split it. We ended up at a local brewery. It wasn't big, but it was clean and not too crowded. We ordered some sliders and fries. She also ordered a pitcher of beer and poured me a glass. I don't really drink. Just one, she said, raising her glass. To celebrate, I picked up my glass and clinked it against hers. She took a big gulp, drinking half her glass. I took a small sip. Ethan, she said, putting her glass down, her cheeks a little flushed. You've been at the company for 3 years. Why are you always alone? Habit. Have you ever thought about finding someone? Who? A girlfriend. I stare at my glass. Bubbles fizzing to the top. No. Why not? It's a hassle. Dating is a hassle. Yeah. It's not, really, she said quietly. Depends on who it's with. The food arrived. She picked up a slider and took a bite. This is good. You should try one. I picked up a fry. Ethan, have you ever dated anyone before? No, really. She looked surprised. Is that weird? No. She shook her head. It just seems like a shame. A shame what? You're a good guy, she said, looking at her half-eaten slider. You're handsome. You work hard. You're reliable. You don't know me. I'm trying to, she said, looking up at me. Isn't that what I'm doing right now? I didn't answer. I ate a fry. It was good. She took another drink of her beer. I have, she said suddenly. I dated someone in college. For a year. I paused. He moved abroad after graduation, so we broke up. Oh, it wasn't a big deal. When we broke up, she said with a shrug. I don't think I even liked him that much. Then why did you date him? I was lonely, I guess. Someone asked, so I said yes. I see. She looked at me. What about you, Ethan? Have you never been lonely? I have. Then why not find someone? I don't want to settle. She blinked. Then she smiled. Yeah, you shouldn't settle. She picked up her glass. To not settling. I clinked my glass against hers again. This time, I took a bigger drink. After we ate, I walked her home. We didn't get an Uber this time. She said she wanted to walk. It wasn't far, about 1.5 miles. It was after 10. The streets were quieter. The streetlights stretched our shadows out long in front of us. We walked side by side. She was humming a song, the one she sang at the karaoke bar. Still a little off-key, but it sounded cheerful. Ethan, yeah, my birthday is next Saturday. I slowed down slightly. Oh, will you have dinner with me? I didn't answer right away. Just dinner, she added quickly. No one else. Just you. Why me? Because she kicked a loose pebble on the sidewalk. I want to spend it with you. The pebble skittered into a storm drain and was gone. We reached her apartment building. She stopped. About what I said, you can think about it. You don't have to answer right away. Okay, well, good night. Good night. She turned to go inside, walked a few steps, then ran back. She pulled something out of her bag and pressed it into my hand. It was a small knitted doll, a little gray rabbit. A client gave it to me. It was some kind of promo item. It reminded me of you. You can have it. She said it all in a rush, then ran off again. She didn't look back this time. I looked at the rabbit in my hand. It was kind of ugly. The stitches were uneven. One eye was bigger than the other. How did this look like me? I squeezed it. It was soft. I put it in my pocket and started walking home. The wind was still cold, but I could almost taste the strawberry candy in my mouth again. When I got home, I put the rabbit on my desk. I stared at it for a while. I opened my phone, the calendar. Next Saturday. I marked it with a red circle. Her birthday. I opened the Amazon app. I browsed for a long time. I had no idea what to get her. I closed the app and went to bed. The following week, she didn't mention her birthday again. Work was normal. We ate lunch together a few times. Friday afternoon, I got a text from her. Are you free tomorrow? I stared at the words. After a moment, I replied. When and where? She immediately sent back an address. A nice Italian restaurant. 6 o'clock? Is that okay? Okay, great. Followed by a spinning, happy face emoji. Saturday. I slept until noon. Got up, cleaned the apartment, took a shower, picked out my clothes. It took me half an hour. I ended up wearing a gray sweater. It looked less severe. I looked at myself in the mirror. My hair was a mess. I tried to flatten it with some water. Still a mess. Whatever. I left at 5. Took the light rail. I passed them all on the way. I went inside. I bought a necklace. A small silver star. It wasn't expensive, but it was nice. The clerk put it in a nice little box. I put it in my pocket. I got to the restaurant. She was already there, sitting at a table by the window. She was wearing a white dress. Her hair was down, slightly wavy. She waved when she saw me. I walked over and sat down. You made it, she smiled. I was afraid you'd get lost. I used Google Maps. She pushed the menu toward me. I already ordered a few things, but see if you want to add anything. I glanced at it. This is enough. Something to drink. Water is fine. She flagged down the waiter and ordered. It was a little quiet while we waited for the food. She fiddled with the cloth napkin on the table. No one else is coming. No. She shook her head. Just you. Why? Because, she glanced up at me. I want to spend important days with important people. I didn't reply. I looked out the window at the street. The city lights were coming on. People were rushing by. The food came. Grilled fish, shrimp scampi, roasted vegetables as soup. It was all very light. She put a piece of fish on my plate. Try this. Their fish is really fresh. I can get it myself. Oh, she pulled her fork back and started eating her own food. But she was smiling the whole time. When we were almost done eating, she pulled out a small cupcake. She stuck a single candle in it. I wasn't going to do this, but you have to have a little ceremony, right? The waiter helped light the candle. Make a wish, I said. She clasped her hands together and closed her eyes. She looked very serious. Her eyelashes rested on her cheeks. The candlelight flickered on her face, soft and warm. After a moment, she opened her eyes and blew out the candle. What did you wish for? I asked. Can't say. It won't come true if I do. She cut the cupcake in half and gave me a piece, just a bite. For tradition, I took it. The frosting was a little sweet, but it was okay. A gift. I pulled out the small box and handed it to her. Her eyes widened. You got me a gift? Yeah. She took it and carefully unwrapped the paper. She opened the box and saw the necklace. She was silent for a few seconds. Thank you. It's beautiful. Glad you like it. Can you help me put on? I got up and walked behind her. I took the necklace. The clasp was tiny. It took me a moment to fasten it. Her hair brushed against the back of my hand. It tickled. I finally got it clasped. She touched the small star at her throat. How does it look? Good. Her smile grew even wider. The check came. I paid. She looked a little embarrassed. I was supposed to treat you. It's your birthday. It's fine. We left the restaurant. A gust of wind made her shiver. She wrapped her arms around herself. I'll take you home, I said. You don't have to. You've done it so many times. Today's different. She looked at me. How is it different? It's your birthday. Oh, she didn't argue. On the light rail, it wasn't too crowded. We found a seat. Side by side, she was holding the necklace box, turning it over and over in her hands. It's really beautiful. Yeah. Ethan. Yeah. I'm really happy today. Good. Especially because you got me a gift, and you had dinner with me. Her voice got quieter. I usually spend my birthday with my parents or friends. This year, I just wanted to spend it with you. Why? Because she turned to look at me. I like you. Can't you tell? The train rumbled along the tracks. The lights of the city flashed by outside the window. Her eyes were shining. She was looking at me, waiting for an answer. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Did I like her? I didn't know. I didn't dislike her. I was even getting used to having her around. But light. The train slowed as it pulled into a station. This is our stop, I said. The light in her eyes dimmed a little. Oh, I walked her to the entrance of her apartment building. She stood under the awning light. Well, I'm going to head up. Okay. Thanks for tonight. You're welcome. She turned to leave. Chloe, I said, stopping her. She immediately turned back. Happy birthday, I said. She smiled. Thank you. This time, she really left. I watched her walk into the lobby and disappear. I stood there for a moment. Then I turned to leave. I walked a few steps. My hand brushed against the rabbit in my pocket. I pulled it out and looked at it. Under the streetlight, the rabbit seemed to be smiling too. A goofy, lopsided smile. Like me. The next day was Sunday. I slept until noon. When I woke up, I had a message on my phone. From Chloe. It was a picture. A selfie of her wearing the star necklace. She was smiling brightly. I'm wearing it. Does it look okay? I replied, looks good. She immediately sent back a smiling emoji. What are you doing today? Staying home. Not going out. No. Okay. Well, get some rest. See you next week. I put my phone down. I felt a little empty. I went to the kitchen to make some pasta. The water came to a boil. I watched the bubbles rolling in the pot. And I thought about her blowing out the candle yesterday, and her question on the train. I like you. Can't you tell? I could tell. I just didn't know how to respond. The pasta was done. I drained it, ate it. It had no taste. In the afternoon, I sat on the sofa, tried to read a book. Couldn't focus. I turned on the TV, flipped through the channels until I found a movie. I had no idea what it was about. Just as it was getting dark, my doorbell rang. Who could that be? I hadn't ordered any food. I didn't have any friends who would just drop by. I opened the door. Chloe was standing there. She was wearing a thick puffer jacket and a scarf wrapped snugly around her neck. Her nose was red from the cold. She was holding a paper bag. Ethan, what are you doing here? I was in the neighborhood, she smiled, her breath turning white in the cold air. Thought I'd drop something off for you. In the neighborhood? Yeah. She peeked past me into my apartment. Can I come in? It's freezing. I stepped aside. She came in and took off her shoes. Your place is really clean, just like I imagined. Have a seat. She sat down and put the paper bag on the coffee table. My mom made brisket. She wanted you to try some. Thanks. I got her a glass of water. She held the glass in her hands, warming them. Are you watching a movie? Just have it on. Oh, she was quiet for a moment. Hey, about what I said yesterday. Did I scare you? No. Good, she sighed in relief. I was afraid you'd start avoiding me. I won't. She took a sip of water. You know, you don't have to answer me right away. I know you need time. Okay. I can wait, she said, looking at the water in her glass. I'm young. I have time. I didn't say anything. The movie was still playing. The main characters were arguing. Loudly. Ethan. Yeah. Is it okay if I come by sometimes, like this? Whatever you want. She smiled. Okay. She didn't stay long. She said she had to get home for dinner. I walked her downstairs and watched her get into an Uber. I went back up to my apartment. I opened the paper bag. Inside was a container of sliced brisket, neatly arranged. There was a small note next to it. Ethan, eat less instant ramen. It's bad for you. Chloe. Her handwriting was neat. She'd drawn a little smiley face at the end. I picked up a piece of the brisket and ate it. It was delicious. Way better than ramen. I folded the note carefully and put it in my desk drawer with a rabbit. One was ugly, the other one was goofy. A good match. Monday at work, she was wearing the necklace. A colleague noticed it. New necklace. It's pretty. Chloe smiled. It was a gift. She didn't look at me, but I knew who she was talking about. In the cafeteria at lunch, she sat down across from me like it was the most natural thing in the world. Did you eat the brisket? I did. Thanks. Was it good? Yeah. I'll bring you more next time. You don't have to go to the trouble. It's no trouble. My mom loves to cook, and we always have too much. Life didn't seem to change much, and yet it felt different. She still came to talk to me, but she wasn't so careful anymore. It was more natural, like we were old friends. She would sometimes come over on the weekends, bring me food, or borrow a book. She'd stay for a little while, then leave. She never overstayed her welcome. Every time she came, she left a little something behind. A coaster, a small succulent plant, a book she'd finished reading. Slowly, my apartment started to show traces of her. At the end of the year, we had our company holiday party. There was a raffle. She won a Bluetooth speaker. She practically jumped for joy and ran over to show me. Ethan, am I lucky or what? Yeah, you can have it. You like listening to music, right? No, you keep it. I already have one, she said, forcing it into my hands. This one's for you. I had no choice but to take it. Thanks. You're welcome. After the party, we left together. It was snowing, the first snow of the year. Tiny, delicate flakes. They landed in our hair, on our clothes. She held out her hand to catch a snowflake. It's snowing, Ethan. Yeah. They say if you make a wish on the first snow, it'll come true. You believe in that stuff? Of course, she said, closing her eyes and clasping her hands together. Making a wish. She finished and opened her eyes. What did you wish for? I asked. For a certain someone to smile more. She was looking at me. A snowflake landed on her eyelash. A tiny speck of white. It melted in an instant. I looked at her and said nothing. She smiled. Come on, it's really coming down now. We started walking, leaving 2 sets of footprints in the fresh snow. One deep, one shallow. Side by side. Ethan. Yeah. Can I hold your hand? I stopped walking. She stood still looking at me. Her eyes were clear, filled with a little bit of hope, and a little bit of fear of being rejected. The snow fell silently between us. I reached out my hand. and took hers. Her hand was small, and cold, and soft. She froze for a second. Then her fingers squeezed mine, lacing through the gaps. Our hands were clasped together. Warmer? I asked. Yeah, she nodded, her eyes curving into crescents. Much warmer. We kept walking, holding hands. We didn't speak. The snow fell harder. The world was quiet. The only sounds were the crunch of our feet in the snow, and her breathing, and my own heartbeat. It was a little fast, but not in a bad way. I walked her home. Our hands were still clasped. Neither of us had let go. We're here, I said. Yeah. She didn't move, just looked at me. Well, I'm gonna go up. Okay. She let go of my hand, turned around, then turned back. Ethan. Yeah. I was really happy tonight. Good. Even happier than on my birthday. She took a step forward and gave me a quick, light hug. It was over in a second, like a snowflake landing on my jacket. Then she ran into the building and was gone. I stood there in the snow. My hand was still warm from hers. I could still feel the ghost of her hug. It felt light, like a dream, but it was real. A snowflake landed on my cheek. It was cold, but I felt warm inside. I lifted my hand and touched the corner of my mouth. It was turned up. I was smiling, by myself, in the snow, a goofy smile. When I got home, I opened the Bluetooth speaker she'd given me, connected it to my phone, and played a song. It was the slow song she'd sung at the karaoke bar. The melody filled the room. It didn't feel so empty anymore. I picked up the ugly rabbit from my desk and squeezed it. Do I look like you? I asked it. The rabbit, of course, didn't answer. But I thought, maybe a little. In her eyes, this is what I was. Awkward but soft. My phone lit up. A text from her. Are you home yet? I am. Thanks for tonight. For what? For holding my hand. I didn't reply. I didn't know what to say. She sent another text. Next time it snows, can we do it again? I stared at the words. After a moment, I typed back. Yeah. She sent back a string of smiling emojis. Good night, Ethan. Good night. I put my phone down and walked to the window. It was still snowing. The world outside was a blanket of white, clean and new. On the last day before the holiday break, the office was half empty. The air smelled sweet and stale, a mix of coffee and leftover pastries. She came over carrying a cardboard box and set it down by my desk. I was cleaning out some old stuff. See if you want any of these books. I peered into the box. A few classic programming textbooks, their spines heavily worn. You read these? They were my dad's, she said, wiping a bead of sweat from her forehead. He said you might be able to use them. I picked up the book on top. C++ Primer, the 1998 edition. On the flyleaf, the date it was purchased was written in fountain pen. The ink now faded to a yellowish brown. Tell him I said thanks. Don't mention it. He said they were just taking up space. She leaned against the cubicle wall, watching me. Are you busy tonight? What? I bought too many movie tickets, and they're non-refundable. She pulled 2 crumpled tickets from her pocket. That excuse was old 10 years ago. If it works, it works, she said, pushing the tickets toward me. Come on. It's the last showing. The theater was old, the seats sagging and lumpy. There were only 5 or 6 other people in the screening room. The movie was an old romance, so slow it was almost hypnotic. Halfway through, I realized she wasn't watching the screen. She was watching me. What time was the movie? I asked in a low voice. 9:40, she whispered, her voice a little shaky. What? It's only 9:05, I said, glancing at my phone. You bought tickets for the next showing. She froze. In the dark, I could feel her tense up. I must have gotten the times mixed up. Chloe. Yeah. Next time you could just ask. She let out a soft, oh, and hugged the popcorn bucket a little tighter. So, will you say yes next time? The light from the movie flickered across her face. I didn't answer. I just offered her my soda. Want some? She took it, her lips barely brushing the straw before she pulled away. Indirect kiss, she mumbled. This time I didn't argue. It was raining when the movie let out. A fine winter mist that blurred the streetlights into halos. We stood under the theater's awning, waiting for our Uber. She stuck her hand out into the rain, catching droplets in her palm. By this time next year, I might not be at the company anymore. I turned to look at her. My internship is almost over. The manager said there aren't many full-time spots. You'll get one. You sound so sure. The project report you did by yourself. The manager was very impressed. Her eyes lit up. How did you know that? He mentioned it to me. She smiled and bumped her shoulder against my arm. Ethan, you've been paying attention to me all this time, haven't you? The Uber driver called to say he was stuck in traffic. She hung up and stared out into the rain. If I don't get the job, I'll open a food cart outside your apartment building. Why my apartment building? So I can be close to you, she said, turning to look at me, her eyelashes dotted with tiny water droplets. You'll have to be my first customer every day. I don't eat breakfast. Then I'll deliver it to your door, she said, getting serious. You can stand by your window, and I'll use a rope to hoist it up. I pictured the scene in my head and couldn't stop a small laugh from escaping. She looked at me like she'd discovered a new continent. Ethan, did you just laugh? No, you did, I saw it. The car pulled up. As she climbed in, still muttering, I know you laughed. Her hair brushed against my arm. It smelled like rain. Christmas break. The city emptied out. I stayed in my apartment, reading and watching movies. On Christmas Eve, fireworks occasionally bloomed in the distance. My phone buzzed. It was a video call from her. I answered. The screen was shaky. She was wearing a big red parka, and I could see a backyard behind her. Ethan, look, we're setting off fireworks. The camera panned up to the night sky, just in time to catch a shower of golden sparks. A guy who looked like her cousin threw his arm around her shoulder. She laughed and pushed him away. Let me show you my grandma's smoked bacon. The camera swung around to show a row of dark red slabs of meat hanging from the eaves of the house. I'll bring you some when I get back. She ran into her room, closed the door, and propped the phone up, catching her breath. Are you alone? Yeah. Did you eat dinner? Frozen lasagna. She wrinkled her nose. I'll come back and bring you a real meal tomorrow. You're out of state. I can drive. It's only a 3-hour trip. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not. She lowered her voice. I told my mom I had to go back to bring my boyfriend some food. My grip on the phone tightened. Did she believe you? She told me to bring you home to meet her. More fireworks exploded in the distance, lighting up the hope in her eyes. I'll come pick you up on the 27th, I said. We'll go to your parents' house. The video froze, catching her with her mouth hanging open. Are you serious? Yeah. Ethan, you're in for it now. I have to go set off a firecracker to celebrate. The morning of the 27th, I was standing outside her parents' house with a bottle of wine and a dessert from a local bakery. She came running down the stairs to meet me, her scarf half-tied. My mom made 8 dishes. My dad even broke out the good whiskey. She reached up to straighten my collar, her fingers trembling slightly. Nervous? A little, she said, looking up at me. I'm fine. In reality, my palms were sweating. Her house was warm, smelling of good food and tea. Her parents were nicer than I'd expected. They just asked a few questions about my job. Her dad brought out the old C++ primer textbook. Chloe said you were reading this. Yes. Thank you, sir. I bought that when I was trying to impress her mother, he laughed. Thought programming was the coolest thing back then. Her mom shot him a look and put a piece of chicken on my plate. Chloe tells us you take good care of her at work. She's the one who takes care of me. Under the table, she gently took my hand. Her palm was warm and dry. It started snowing lightly on the drive back. She had pulled out the star necklace I gave her and was wearing it over her sweater. My mom says you're polite, and my dad says you're reliable. They don't mind that I'm quiet. I told them that's just how you are, she said, kicking at the light dusting of snow on the ground. That you see everything, even if you don't talk about it. When we reached my apartment building, she suddenly stopped. You know, I was terrified you were going to back out today. Why would I do that? I don't know, I was just scared, she said, looking down at her feet. This all feels like a dream. I reached out and touched her cheek with my fingertips. Does that hurt? No, then it's not a dream. She stared at me, then threw her arms around me and hugged me tight. Ethan, that's the first time you've ever touched me first. The snow landed on our clasped hands and didn't melt. When spring came, she was officially hired full-time. We moved into a bigger apartment with a south-facing balcony. She bought a mint plant, claiming she was going to make mojitos, but it shriveled up and died. One Saturday morning, I woke up to the sound of clattering in the kitchen. She was at the stove, wearing an apron, frying eggs, and humming an off-key song. Surprise! Breakfast in bed. The eggs on the plate were burned, the bacon was shriveled, but the toast was a perfect golden brown. Did you mess with the toaster settings? Nope, she said, wiping her forehead. Maybe it was just in a good mood today. Later, I found out she'd been secretly practicing making toast for 2 weeks. I ate the burnt eggs. She rested her chin in her hands, watching me. It's my parents' anniversary next week. They want us to come over for dinner. Okay, you're not even going to ask what day. Any day is fine. She laughed and pushed the plate with the perfect piece of toast toward me. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, casting tiny shadows from her eyelashes. I reached out and picked a crumb from the end of her hair. She caught my wrist, pressing my hand gently against her cheek. I'm used to it now, she said, closing her eyes. When you touch me, my heart doesn't race anymore. I leaned in and kissed her forehead. What about now? The tips of her ears turned red. She let go of my hand and ducked back into the kitchen. That's cheating. Outside on the balcony, next to the pot with the dead mint, a new green sprout was pushing its way through the soil.